Hello and welcome to the Retro Gamer Show.
And here's what's coming up on the show. As usual, we've got a Games Chart Flashback for you, but what will be the month, the year and the system? Our good friend and regular viewer of the Retro Gamer Show, Dan B, gives us his own version of one of his favourite game theme tunes. Regular viewers of this show and the channel will know that James loves a good gaming build project. And now in this episode he has a virtual pinball table to show us. And we have our usual roundup of all this month's retro gaming events in What's On. So hold on to your seats because it just might make you feel like dancing.
So first up, we're going to tell you a bit of news. Colin, what have you got for us?
Right, yeah, so my bit of news that I've got for you, this is actually something that sort of a bit of news that broke as our last Retro Gamer Show video was actually uploading, so it's a little bit belated, but some of you may have already noticed that Doom 1, 2 and 3 have now been released for the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. So yeah, so if you want to get playing your Doom, you can now play it on today's systems. Now, I know probably most people say, well, fed up with Doom, I've emulated it, played it on the PC, played it on the original PlayStation and all that. But I actually didn't play it a whole lot back in the day. I played it a little bit when I was at college on the college computers.
PC then?
I didn't have a PC, and I've never been a PC gamer. It's always been consoles for me. So, I mean, I'd like Commodore 64, obviously, and Amigas. I'm always going on about those. But yeah, never had a PC for PC gaming. It's always been consoles since that PC sort of came in, really. So yeah, so anyway, I've been downloaded the original Doom, been playing that. It's pretty good. I mean, you've got, obviously, it's just like Doom was. It's no different. It's not been upgraded or anything. It's slightly, I suppose, it's been made slightly better, but it's just Doom, you know. And the good thing about it is it's got co-op play on it, so you can have a 4-player deathmatch. So you can get your mates round and all sit on the sofa and have a game of deathmatch. Or it's also got 4-player co-op, so you can all sort of play together to play through your levels of Doom. So it's really cool.
That sounds like a cool feature.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. So yeah, so I'll say it's available now on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Switch, and it's only, I think the first one I bought was $3.99, so obviously not overly expensive. I know you could emulate it obviously or something like that, or play it on an old PC, but to play it on your Xbox, pretty cool.
Or a Switch.
Yeah, your Switch, yeah, take it on the go with you, then obviously that's even cooler, yeah. So yeah, so any news from you this time, James?
Personal news, I have new teeth.
Ah, yes.
Finally got my teeth sorted.
Nah.
But yeah, back to retro gaming news. Arcade 1-Up, so everyone's heard of them. They did a budget, well, I say budget, arcade machines.
Yeah, very popular in America.
Yeah.
And not so popular here in the UK. For some
reason. Not so much,
yeah,
but you can get them in Argos, so you know, that's popular enough to be able to buy them. You've about £300, $330.
Yeah.
Some people love them, some people hate them.
Didn't know anyone who's got one though.
No. I've never played on one, but I've seen them.
Yeah.
And they do their little stands that you can put under.
Yeah, because they're quite low, aren't they?
Yeah, they're quite
get
short.
A booster to boost them.
That's it, a booster seat.
Yeah.
Exactly that, yeah. And they've got the artwork for the booster seat. Yeah. But people make their own. There's a massive modding community. People moan about the screens. So people change the screens and they put pies in and they put emulation station on and all the good stuff that you can do with pies. Yeah. But anyway, back to what I'm talking about. This is going somewhere. They've got another license. They've got the Star Wars license, so they're going to bring out a Star Wars cab. I've seen photos. Yeah. We'll put them on screen. So it's got the Star Wars arcade controller.
Right. Yeah.
You must have seen it.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
So special controller built into it. It's come with 3 games: Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and the original Star Wars. So interesting to see what that's like.
Yeah. Might be actually a cab worth getting because they're not going to get that sort of controller in every cab, are you? So.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, they've done well getting that license. I mean, that's not going to be cheap, is it, to get the Star Wars license? But anyway, that's one to keep an eye out for people that want to convert their small houses into small arcades.
Right, so moving on, you tell us you love it. It's time for this month's Games Chart Flashback. For this month's Games Chart Flashback, we're going back to a time where if you went to the cinema you might have been watching Matt Damon in The Bourne Identity, or maybe Tom Cruise in Minority Report, and this was riding high at number 1 in the UK singles chart.
We're taking a look at June 2002 with the Xbox chart. And first up at number 5, it's Dead or Alive 3.
At 4, it was the first time we all met Max Payne.
At 3, some long-running football franchise was cashing in on the World Cup.
At number 2, it was one of my favourite Xbox races, Project Gotham Racing.
And at number 1, the guys at Bungie were showing you how to make a decent game with Halo Combat Evolved.
Bring the ship back up to combat alert alpha. I want everyone at this station.
Men, keep your eyes downrange, fingers on your triggers, and we all go home in one piece. Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir!
Lock and load your weapons. Let's be ready to move. Good luck, miss.
Now would be a very good time to leave.
For this gang, going for minimum safety.
What is that thing, Lieutenant?
Hell if I know. We're landing on it. Damn! Air brake failure. My impact!
Chief, can you hear me?
Affirmative. Echo 419 inbound.
The Covenant presence here is stronger than I anticipated. They seem to have the entire region secured.
The ring has some kind of deep religious significance.
They call it Halo.
They believe that Halo is some kind of weapon. One with vast, unimaginable power.
If Halo is a weapon, and the Covenant gain control of it, they'll use it against us and wipe out the entire human race.
That's not going to happen.
Give him hell, Marine.
Get out of here before it's too late!
Right then, Colin, you know our friend Dan B?
Oh yeah, great supporter of the channel.
He certainly is.
Always
and
in
has
the
been
comments.
for a long time.
Yeah.
He's always first with the comments.
Yeah, and of course he's got a channel himself.
Yeah, he does. So he is a musician, a very good one at that. And do check out his channel. We'll put a link to it here for you. So I was chatting to him on Twitter just about his channel and you know what he's been up to, and I challenged him to do us and the viewers of the Retro Gamer Show a little quick video of his favourite video game soundtrack. And here's what Dan's come up with.
Perfect.
So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? I mean, Dan's done a really good job there. That's his little rendition of Ken's theme from Street Fighter 2. And yeah, if you like that sort of thing, sort of like what Dan does on his channel, he sort of takes sometimes modern day music, sometimes game theme tunes, and he sort of mixes them up and does his own little rendition, and then uploads them to his channel. It's a great channel, let's say, called Dan B Play Piano by Ear, so go check that out. Thanks very much for doing that, Dan, we really appreciate it.
you probably know, because I mention it every so often, I've been working on a new arcade project for home, and it's a virtual pin.
Oh yeah, you've been mentioning that for quite some time now, actually.
I must have been on it over a year.
Yeah, but I remember you brought around some lights and stuff to show me.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, and you couldn't work out how to wire them up, and it was. I must admit, it was really complicated. I didn't have a clue.
I did struggle, but I did hit a few hurdles, but managed to get some help. And here's a little video to show you what I've been up to. Hello, and welcome to my tiny conservatory. But I shouldn't knock it because it gives me enough room to enable me to build something like this. Now, if like me, you've always got to have a project on the go, did the arcade machine, then the driving cabinet, what comes next? Well, it can only be a pinball or a virtual pin. So for those of you who've never seen one before, essentially you have a screen as the play field. You've got another screen up here. This shows you what would be called the back glass. That usually shows you the game that you're playing. And then there's actually another monitor mounted here, and that shows the score, or the DMD as it's often called. So essentially it's the same size as a normal pinball machine. It's made out of 18mm MDF. Had the graphics printed and stuck on the sides. It's got original pinball legs and pinball lockdown bar. The unit's also got some flashers here that I'll get set up and working, and they tie in with the ROMs on the pinball machines, the originals, so that originally when certain flasher would get triggered, it would do the same on the virtual pin. The metalwork, or the sort of fixings if you like, so the legs, the sides and the lockdown bar, they're all from a scrap Jurassic Park pinball machine by Data East. I found a guy that was stripping one down and selling the parts on, I think, UK VAC. He was all the way in Bulgaria, but he did me a really good deal on the metal pieces and the legs, all delivered for, you know, a very good price, very cheap, cheaper than buying all new. So can't complain at that. If you're ever going to attempt to build one of these, the main thing that you need to look at is is basically the width. So generally you get two standards of width. You get this, which is a Bally Williams kind of width, and there's also a super, there's a wide body, and I think there's a super wide body as well. But there's a good few different types of widths, but essentially the lockdown bar dictates the actual width of the cabinet. So if you're ever going to attempt to build one of these, then do get that first, and then you can basically work out all the other dimensions from it, or just send me a message and I'll happily send you the dimensions of mine if that helps anyone out. So yeah, the lockdown bar dictates the width. The next thing you've got to worry about is the actual screen. Now, most people that I've seen online that make these, they actually take the monitor out, so they decase it, they take it out of the housing. I didn't really want to do that. I probably could, but I wanted to keep it intact. So I've got I think it's a 40-inch LCD that just fits. You have to be, there's literally about 5mm difference in taking the case, well, with the case on in this monitor. So there's next to no room. It's not quite as long as it could be, so I've had to make like a panel here just to fill the space, really. So yeah, that's the play field. It's a Samsung LCD. There's just a 26-inch. This is an old Tesco branded telly, Technica, I think they're called. I've heard they're not that reliable, so I really hope that this one lasts, because it's going to be a nightmare if I need to change that. But I didn't. Stupidly, when I made it, I didn't make it that accessible, but it can be. There's screws I can take out and take the back panel off, but let's hope, touch wood, that I never have to change that. So mentioned the main playfield screen, the back glass, it's called monitor. That's a 26-inch TV, and there's a 19-inch just old computer monitor from, I think it was about a couple of quid at a car boot, not even that. It has a silver bezel, but I managed to hide it sort of with this panel here. And then there's 2 car speakers. Now, anyone that's ever built a main cabinet, you can use just normal car speakers on a amplifier, which I'll show you a bit later on. So they run happily enough from that. They're just mounted behind some screw-on plastic speaker grills. And that's really the outline of the cabinet. There's numerous buttons. You've got your flippers, obviously. There's also additional buttons that haven't set up yet, but they're for other games. There's features and stuff, Magna saves and things like that in different games that people put those on. So yeah, everyone tends to fit them. So obviously they fit them for a reason, and I'm not that clued up on this kind of stuff. So thought, well, everyone does it, so it must be needed somewhere. Better to have them and not use them than have to fit them later, or even not have them. So that's the lockdown bar. On the front we've got this is an old arcade coin door. I don't know what it's from, can't remember, but it didn't come with the other stuff. But this is a coin door, and I fitted a little keyless lock here, so you don't need to have a key handy, which is handy because obviously it's, you know, don't have to go hunting for keys, or I didn't really want keys hanging out, so these are only a few pounds, so that was a good buy. Got your start button here, button for extra balls, and there's an exit button to exit them, any menu sort of games, and then you've got a big launch ball button. So a lot of times people prefer the plungers, so you know, the metal pole or rod on a spring that you would pull and launch, but I just wanted a button. It's just so much easier. You can get these all expensive solutions that have the original launcher, and they measure the travel of the rod, and depends on the power, depending on how far you pull it back, and there's a whole load of stuff you can buy. But the problem with pinball stuff, if anyone knows, if it's got a pinball in it, the price is about 4 times what it would be normally. So yeah, that's the quick overview of the cabinet. We'll get it fired up and show you it working. Right, so we got this thing fired up. What I probably should have said to start with is it is still a complete work in progress. I've got some glass ordered to go over the front here. I'm probably going to fit some kind of screen to keep the dust out from this one here. So maybe some thick perspex or something like that. The whole thing runs on the PC, which is underneath the cabinet. Originally the plan was to mount the actual motherboard inside the cabinet. It would have been a better idea to do that, but there's so much stuff in here, there just wasn't the room. Even if I went for like a mini ITX or something really small, there just isn't the room. So yeah, so it's a complete work in progress. I've got the wireless keyboard and mouse in my hand because that's handy every so often. Eventually I'll get it set up to just boot straight into like a front end, but configuring things like hyperspin is very difficult for me anyway. So ideal world, it would boot into a GUI, and you select what game and it would fire off, but at the moment we've got to rely on one of these. Now this is a Logitech K400 Plus. They're really cheap, about 15 quid you can get them for on eBay. You've got a little touchpad here, and something like this, absolute godsend. You don't want to mess about plugging cables in and running USB leads, and it's wireless, works perfect. So yeah, anyway, enough of the plug for Logitech, but these are great. So we've got Pinball FX installed here, and got a handful of tables for that. I spent hours messing around with VPin main trying to get everything working, but I've taken the easy route for now, just to basically start playing and get it how I want it. So Pinball FX is a brilliant PC pinball game. I'll give you a view of what we got loaded here, which is Family Guy.
This is fun, huh? Wow.
This has been Trisha Takanawa with the news, and now I will have my normal post-news review from my mom in her car.
What are you doing, Mr. Swanson?
Joe, it was so close! This is too perfect. Yes! Good shot! Yes! This is too perfect. Good shot!
Well, that's been a little run through of what I've been up to with this cabinet and how far I've got. So far there's still so much to do. I need to set up a front end, I need to get a pin MAME running. I just at the moment have taken the easy option, or fairly easy option, of setting up Pinball FX, and what a great piece of software that is. There's Pinball FX 3 as well out now. So yeah, it's good that they've included a cabinet mode for people to be able to put, you know, these tables in a real cabinet. So yeah, I've loads to do. You've probably seen the wiring inside. I've got the wiring for the what's called a LED whiz to fire the flashes for MAME. I've also got a load of relay circuits that fire knockers if you like. Pardon the pun. Not the knockers you're thinking of. Solenoids, I should have said. So little solenoids that fire against metal brackets to make like a metal clanging noise that will also be used for what they call depth of field. So that extra sort of enhancement that you can have in pinball cabinets. So yeah, any questions, leave us a comment in the video and I'll do my best to answer any. And trust me when I say, if I can do this, anyone can.
Well, it's good to see that and see what you've actually been getting up to with that, and love the Back to the Future theme. That looks really cool. And yeah, so you're making progress. How long do you think it's going to be before you finish it?
God knows. But yeah, hang on in there. As soon as it's all sorted and I'm happy with it, we'll do a really good in-depth video, just like we did with the Sega Outrun cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't seen that and you've got 55 minutes or so to kill, have a check out of that video.
Yeah, it's been very popular, that video. So yeah, we'll like I say, we'll do another one of those, and look forward to coming around and having a go on it when it's finished. Right, so now this month we're off to a couple of retro gaming events coming up soon, and if you want to know what those are and if you would like to attend a retro gaming event, here's all you need to know in this month's What's On.
And first up, the Southwest Amiga Group are back with Swag Meet 10. This time it's being sponsored by the good people of Retro Bents. They're helping out with the costs involved in putting on this event. And one of the highlights is going to be making music with Chris Poacher. It's all happening on Saturday the 7th of September, and to get your tickets visit southwestamiga.org.uk.
Next up, and being held on the same weekend, the 7th and the 8th of September, it's the Retro Computer Festival. Following the success of last year's event, the Centre for Computing History will be dedicating another entire weekend to the retro computing community. This year's event promises to be the largest ever, with more exhibitors and more computers than ever before. So if this one sounds like an event for you, get yourself over to computinghistory.org.uk for more information and to pick up your tickets.
And finally, it certainly wouldn't be a What's On if there wasn't a gaming market, and this time it's our neck of the woods, it's the Bristol Gaming Market. It's being held on Sunday the 22nd of September, and this event is so easy to get to, it's practically in the train station, smack bang in the middle of Bristol. You can get your tickets from the website bristolgamingmarket.com. Of course we're going to be there, so if you do see us, come and say hello!
So there you go, that's it for this month's Retro Gamer Show. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to all the new subscribers and everyone who's always continues to subscribe to our channel and support our channel. We really do appreciate it.
We certainly do.
Yeah. And if you commented on last month's show, as usual, your name will be going across the bottom of the screen right now. But as always, James, until next time, what they got to do?
Keep it retro, everyone!